welcome back to another episode in the kitchen. So, after quite a big tour of India and Sri Lanka, you know, Tamil Nadu, Amritsar, the Punjab, Delhi and Sri Lanka, I've had so much authentic food. I thought I'd cook something pretty Bangladeshi inspired or British Indian takeaway or whatever you want to call it. So let's talk about the ingredients. Now, I've got obviously friends in the catering industry and the Indian restaurant business in the UK. And they've got a couple of different tips here, so remember that it's fiercely competitive and you want your customers coming back. So let's start. We've got that's 2 bunches of coriander, just the stalks, 1 cream of tomato soup, absolutely delicious. To make that a little bit more redder, we're probably going to use about 2 tablespoons of tomato ketchup. It's got a subtle sweetness about it. Definitely going to use about 2.5 teaspoons of monosodium glutamate aromat. I'm going to use about 400 millilitres of ordinary cooking oil. Got about 4 carrots there, peeled and sliced. Got a green pepper, a red pepper. We've got quite a generous amount of ginger and garlic. Ratio about 70-30 in garlic's favour, and that's about 120 grams. Got 1.5 kilos of onions, coarsely chopped. This is a pressure cooker recipe. Just under maybe 25% of the coconut block, you know, the coconut cream, 3 sticks of celery and a leek. Powdered spices, using Himalayan rock salt. I've got sabzi masala, you can buy it in a lot of shops and it just goes great. Think of this as a base gravy. It's essentially a curried vegetable soup that should be packed with flavour. About a heaped tablespoon of that. 2 tablespoons of cumin. I've got a tablespoon of garam masala. I've got 1.5 tablespoons of paprika. I've got 2 tablespoons of turmeric. I've got about 1 tablespoon of Kashmiri chili powder, and we've got some really nice Taste of India garam masala, about 1 tablespoon. So let's get using a 13-litre pressure cooker. It really doesn't matter if you're using the smaller one, you know, 7-8 litres is fine. So I'm just going to let that heat up. Then I'm adding 400 millilitres of cooking oil. So once your oil's heated up, this might splutter a bit because of the water content and the ginger and garlic, but I'm going to add the ginger and garlic and I'm just going to stir it. That's the rawest flavour you have in all the ingredients, and it definitely needs cooking out first. There's so many different ways to do this. There's no right or wrong. What I want to ensure is excellent curry production once this is made. So as soon as it starts to cook and stop sizzling, it ensures some of the water's left and it won't be making so much noise, and then I'll be adding the onions. We'll come about 4 minutes now. You don't need to totally sizzle it off or brown it. Remember, there's a lot more cooking to go. So I prefer to put the onions in at this stage with no water. We're not going to be putting the lid on the pressure cooker until we've got some water, obviously. But I like to, you know, sort of fry my onions a little bit because fried onions taste great. So we'll probably be going to come back in about 20 minutes once that's happened. So that's been about 20 minutes. Give it a good stir, make sure nothing sticks. But I think you'd agree, you know, just 3 ingredients there with the oil, really, really tasty, and, you know, to par fry them a little bit and is really going to lock the flavour in. So now it's time for the carrots, the peppers, the coriander stalk, the leek and the celery, and that's going to taste absolutely great. And I just want those to break down a little bit as well, heat up with the oil, so a good stir. And I've also got a kettle with about 2 litres of water turned on now, and we'll come back once the leeks have separated their layers and again that's par fried. So that didn't take long and it smells absolutely divine and it looks great too, even though it's going to be thoroughly blended into a smooth paste. I'm going to add the spices now, and I'm adding the spices like this, not in the water that we're going to add soon, so they cook through, get all that rawness out. And that water, sorry, the spices had the coconut and the monosodium glutamate. Now you can criticise me, and some people send me links, oh, this is so bad for you. But this is going to probably make about 15 curries for 2 people, and in moderation it's harmless and it's really, really tasty, trust me. Do cook this and put your comments below. So I'm just going to stir those spices up, and I'm going to add some water. I don't want them to burn. A little water. It's all come to the boil. It's all come to the boil, and it's smelling absolutely divine. In with the tomato soup. If you object to that, just don't use it. You know, all these base gravies are similar. You know, it's all about your preference really, and it's all about making a great curry. Just to balance that off and give it a little bit of red and a little bit of sweetness. Whoops, pardon the noise. I'm adding about 2.5 tablespoons of tomato ketchup. I'm going to give that a good stir again, and my kettle is almost ready to be, the water's ready to be put in. A lot of restaurants used a lot of Carnation's milk in their base gravy as well. But anyway, I'm just going to let that come to a really good sizzle. Give it a stir occasionally, make sure nothing sticks to the sides. And then we're going to add some water, put the lid on. We'll come back shortly. It's all bubbling up, smelling absolutely divine really. So I'm adding enough water to easily cover it by about maybe 1 inch. And we're going to give that a stir, and I'm going to come back and put the lid on. So that's bubbling away, there's all our ingredients. I'm going to put the lid of the pressure cooker on now. So make sure you've got plenty of water like I suggested, about 1 inch over the vegetables, and I'm going to boil that for about 50 minutes. We're going to come back and have a look what that looks like. So that's about 45 minutes in. That's the beauty of using a pressure cooker. Looks great, we've got all the oil at the top. Smells sensational really. So I'm going to blend it with a really good stick blender until it's really, really thin. And I'm going to blend it, and then I'm going to add any necessary water so it's the consistency of double cream, so it sort of sticks to the spoon, so it thickens up when you make the actual curries and you get that condensed flavour. So we'll come back once that's blended up. So that's the beauty of using a pressure cooker. It was just so effortless to blend. The ingredients were so soft. Still haven't got the consistency I want quite. I'm going to add about 1 litre of water there. I think that should do it. And if I'm going to add water to it, I'm just going to make sure I return it to the boil just to infuse all the ingredients, and you can see the lovely glossy sheen on the top there. And I'm just going to boil that for about maybe 15 minutes and turn the heat down at the last minute, and just put it on a low heat for maybe up to 10 minutes. Just get a little bit of oil separation. Then it's all going into Tupperware tubs. It's going to be cooled down, put in the freezer for curry production. It's a nice British Indian restaurant style curries coming up, so stay tuned to the channel. Thanks for watching. Happy New Year.